Hi everybody, I decided today to take you down into my basement and show you my saltwater mixing station with my RODI unit. I have to say the credit for building the station goes to my husband. Even though it's my tank, I'm definitely not a builder. So he did, in my opinion, a good job. I know it doesn't look like much and probably not as neat as a lot of other hobbyists. But I thought I would definitely share it, maybe an idea that somebody hasn't thought of that they wanted to try themselves. And so, first off, here's how we built it. We bought some concrete blocks from like Home Depot. You can buy them at Lowe's, any kind of home improvement place. So we built the concrete blocks up, and then we took a good sized board and laid that the entire length of it. And here's our RODI system that we use. We also have a digital TDS meter that we have attached to it, so we can turn it on and check the levels all the time. Usually we try to make sure to keep it obviously kept at zero. Once it gets up past, we'll let it slide if it's at 1, but anything over 1 we have to change out the resin. And we went and bought a Brute trash can. It's like a 32-gallon trash can. We bought it at Walmart. And what my husband did was he drilled a hole in it and attached this basically a spigot or whatever you want to call it to open the valve to let water out. And then we attached this hose to it, and then you can just turn that on, and there you go. The water runs from the RO unit up into here, and then when we need RO water for water change, we're ready to go. For the water change container, and I'll explain more about why I'm using this type of container in a minute. I just got a regular tote from Walmart, and see, I marked it, I measured it before I used it for the first time. I measured it in 10-gallon, 15-gallon, and 20-gallon increments. And I use, for my tank, I use Red Sea Coral Pro Salt. And let me tell you a little bit about this salt. I'm very impressed with it. That's all I've ever used in my tank. First off, when you mix it, you can mix it for 30 minutes, and that's what you have to do, is run it and mix it for 30 minutes. And it is ready to use after 30 minutes. You don't have to wait 24 hours and keep it mixing and all that. Its pH is stable within 30 minutes. And I just absolutely love this salt. It's excellent. So I'll continue to use that salt for sure. I mix my salt water to 1.025, and it takes me 4 3/4 cups. And I measure them flat. I take a butter knife or whatever to make sure it's measured flat, almost like if you were baking or something, to make sure it's an exact measurement. And then I use a old power head. It's a 400. It's kind of overkill, but it's what I had on hand. It's an old power head pump from my aquarium, and it's 476 gallons per hour, which obviously is overkill, but it works, and it works well. And so I put that in my little container. I do 10 gallons a week. I fill it up to 10 gallons. I put my pump in there. I add 4 3/4 cups of Coral Pro salt. Before I do that, obviously I have a heater, which you can see here. There's a heater inside here. I just got a little bitty small heater. You don't need much. And I let that... Usually I fill it the night before to 10 gallons. I let that run, the heater run, heat everything up. Usually then the next morning I will come down here, unplug the heater, and then I fill the container up to 10 gallons, and I add 4 3/4 cups of Coral Pro salt with my pump running inside the water. And I go do errands or whatever I have to do. I usually let it mix a couple hours because I'm doing errands or whatnot. And then when I come down, I check the water, check the salinity, make sure that's on par, which it most 99.9% of the time you're good to go. And what I do then is I have, and this just makes it easier, I have 4 2.5 gallon containers for my 10-gallon water change, and I just fill them up and carry them upstairs. And I know it's kind of hard in the basement hauling water upstairs, but it's not that big a deal, and these containers are not that heavy when they're full. And then and it's easy. And then on another show, I'll do a show on how I change water the easy way. I can change water in probably less than 10 minutes on my aquarium. Very simple. So here you have it. Again, the RODI unit, very imperative. If you have a reef tank, you have to you need an RO unit, and you have to use an RODI unit, so your water is as pure as it can be when it goes into your tank, to avoid algae problems, phosphates, and different stuff that's in our tap water. And like I said, this Brute trash can works great, and everything. So, and when I need to fill water, I have an RO container that sits under my tank. I'll show that on another episode. I can just fill a 5-gallon jug up of, which is right here. I'll fill that up, and using this hose and bring it on upstairs. And that's about all there is to it. Real simple, easy way. Like I said, I know it kind of looks messy, homemade and all that kind of stuff, but it works, and it works very well. So I hope everybody enjoyed today's segment. But again, I'm sure people have a lot better ways, or newer stuff or whatnot. But for me, it didn't cost much. I mean, less than $100, not counting the RO unit. To get this set up saves a lot of money in the long run. Making your own salt water saves hundreds of dollars, as opposed to buying it at aquarium stores. And another good thing about making your own salt water is that your salinity is, you know exactly what the salinity is that you're putting in your tank. So you don't get home from the aquarium store and have a surprise when their salinity is at 2.3 and yours is at 2.5, or sometimes I've seen it 2.7 or 2.8 and mine's at 2.5, that kind of thing. So, if you want it done right, you have to do it yourself, just like the old saying goes. So this is my little setup, and I have some upcoming videos I'm going to do on growing phytoplankton, which I've been doing that for quite a while now, and that's going really well. I have much more than I need, actually. And then I'm also cultivating Tisbee pods as well for my tank. So, and coming up, I'll make some more videos on those. So, thanks for watching, everybody. And one more thing I wanted to add on the Coral Pro salt again is that, like I said, there's so many good salts out there, but what really drew me to Coral Pro was the fact that it mixed within 30 minutes, and I really did. That was a huge thing for me. Plus, my local fish store that I was buying salt water from before I started mixing my own salt used Coral Pro, and it did wonders for my tank and my corals. And I can tell you, and I have several LPS. I have one SPS, several LPS in my tank, and some softies. And and also have a Durasa clam, a large Durasa clam. So my calcium probably does get depleted through the week, but my calcium is always at 450 parts per million anytime I check it, which is impressive. And I know it's definitely because of the salt. So to me, I don't have to add any additives into my tank. My alkalinity, everything, magnesium, everything's spot on when I test for it. And I don't, again, I don't need a calcium reactor. I don't, need that kind of stuff. Now, obviously, if I had all SPS, I might have to invest in something like that. But for my tank, like I said, it keeps my calcium at 450. And sometimes it's been as low as 430, but it's never been lower than 430. So it's usually between 430 and 450 every week when I check it. So I'm really, really happy about that. That, you know, I'd rather pay the extra money for the Red Sea Coral Pro than have to buy calcium and different things like that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little video today. I appreciate everybody for watching. If you liked it, please like it. At the bottom, if you want to subscribe, please do so, because I'll be making a lot more videos. Everybody on YouTube has helped me in the past when I was new in the hobby years ago. Everybody helped me in the hobby. Watching YouTube videos and stuff is perfect. And I have to say that I want to kind of give back to people that helped me, and hopefully maybe people can learn something like I learned something from so many different people on here. Thank you again for watching. Happy reefing.